You're watching Spectrum News 1. It's 5 o'clock.
I'm Courtney Garish with your Spectrum News in 90. DHS wants public input on how to spend the almost $15 million from a settlement with vape manufacturer Juul. The agency will hold 3 listening sessions and offer an online survey. It wants ideas on how to best use those funds over the next several years to help reverse the harm caused by electronic cigarettes. 2 freelance photographers filed a federal lawsuit. It alleges police unlawfully shot them with rubber bullets during the social unrest in Kenosha 3 years ago. Allison Shukar claims police shot her in the hand during a protest. Scott Olson said police shot him in the head. That lawsuit names Kenosha County Sheriff David Beth, the former Kenosha police chief, and 10 unnamed law enforcement officers as defendants. Madison was named a finalist to host the International Gay Rugby North American Cup in 2025. The city's sports commission hopes to land that event, which would bring up to 30 teams from Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. to Dane County. The winning city expected to be announced in the coming weeks.
It has been a cooler but quiet Thursday across the Badger State following Wednesday's cold front. High temperatures below average, 60s to upper 70s as the evening moves on, turning a bit chilly in some areas. Partly cloudy to mostly clear, lows in the 50s to even low 40s. Starting off Friday on a quiet note, a mostly clear sky. Clouds increase from the west as the day moves forward, possibly a stray shower in areas south and west by the afternoon. Still below average for most, high temperatures 70s to low 80s. And that's your news and weather in 90.
A dry Wisconsin getting even drier as the summer rolls along. Drought conditions are now worse in many regions. Our recent rain was not enough to provide relief to farmers and others who depend on regular rainfall. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this evening on Spectrum News 1. We begin with the statewide drought that has many wondering how bad will it get, and is there any relief in sight? For that and more, let's bring back meteorologist Nikki Petrus. Nikki, what are the hardest hit spots in the state right now?
Parts of south central Wisconsin have seen the worst, but everybody is in some sort of rain deficit. The drought situation just getting worse and worse. And we did see some substantial rain in areas on Wednesday. Not enough to help out with these drought conditions. You mentioned the hardest hit areas. You can see sort of that bullseye of red in parts of south central Wisconsin. That includes Dane County right around Madison, parts of Sauk County, Rock County, Columbia County. You can see those red areas indicating an extreme drought for those parts of the state. But it's not just there. All the orange you see, a severe drought, including areas like Platteville, Milwaukee, Janesville, Kenosha. Further north, a moderate drought in areas like Eau Claire, Hayward, Rhinelander. And we did see rain on Wednesday. Not enough to help out, even though we saw several inches come down, heavy rainfall, some thunderstorms. We still need several more inches to begin to correct this drought. Parts of the state for the first half of the summer months into the season here have seen almost 10% to 20% of the rainfall that they should be seeing. So again, things are still in a pretty poor situation. Again, areas around Dane County hit the hardest right now, but we're hoping for more rain to come as we look ahead in the extended forecast. Maybe a few more showers ending the weekend, then into Monday and Tuesday, but still a lot more rain needed to help with this drought condition, Courtney.
Yeah, well, that's some good news there. At least we will be getting some rain. Nikki will be back with your full forecast in just a few minutes. Thanks, Nikki. For more on how this drought is impacting Wisconsinites, Spectrum News 1's Abby Taylor shares how one farmer is handling the dry season.
Many sweet corn farmers across the state, like the Allison family, say this time of year they're normally preparing to harvest their sweet corn. But instead, they've been dealing with the drought. Ben Allison has been working on his family farm since he was in 5th grade. Now he's part owner.
We have about 250 acres of vegetables.
They're known for their sweet corn, and this is the time of year they start preparing to harvest.
So right now we'd be getting our wagons ready that we pull the sweet corn to the packing shed with. We'd be getting our sweet corn picker ready and things like that, since we're probably, I'd say, about 2 weeks off of harvesting our regular field crop.
Instead, their focus has been on the drought. Alsam says they've added new irrigation equipment to make up for the lack of rain.
We had put an irrigation well in 2 years ago, and we have a traveling gun. And this year we can barely keep up with watering the sweet corn and the vegetables. So right now we are actually installing overhead irrigations in the irrigation pivots. We're putting 4 of them in on this farm, and then we're going to put 5 more in on a couple other farms we have.
He says this is one of the worst droughts the farm has dealt with. Nicole Wagner, executive director for Wisconsin Corn, which deals with field corn, not sweet corn, says even though the drought is bad, farmers will still have a crop.
We're still going to be able to feed all the livestock in the state and supply corn to ethanol plants. So corn growers are still going to have a crop. It's just not going to be as good as they might like.
We'll try one.
And keeping that optimism going, we were actually able to witness the first ear of sweet corn harvested on the Alsam family farm.
I think we'll be harvesting corn tomorrow.
Exciting news for Alsam because it was a trial run on a new drip tape irrigation system for the sweet corn to speed up the growing process.
It was started in a greenhouse, and we transplanted it into the plastic. 2 rows on the plastic with drip tape in between, and this is about as close to 4th of July corn as I thought we'd ever have.
This is something he plans on adding to more of his corn crops next year, and it's some much needed positive news after an extremely dry season. In Randolph,
That's good corn.
Abby Taylor, Spectrum News.
It's also a good idea to be extra careful if you're grilling in these conditions. The Madison Fire Department said an entire backyard started on fire at a residence. A smoker was used on dry grass. The fire damaged the backyard and destroyed a neighbor's garden. Before fire crews put it out, the fire had also spread to a nearby electrical pole. The department said it's a good idea to put concrete pavers under the grill or smoker or use it on the driveway away from combustible materials. One woman is dead after a shooting in Shorewood. Police responded early Thursday morning to the area of Marion Street and Murray Avenue. According to police, a second woman was also shot. She was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Less than an hour later, the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office responded to a call for an unresponsive man in a car at Lincoln Park. Police believe he's the suspect in this case and said he died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The governor's statewide budget tour continued Thursday with a stop in the Fox Cities. The Appleton Airport will get $7 million as part of the state budget Governor Tony Evers signed Wednesday. That money will be used to extend the airport's terminal, add a restaurant, and some other improvements. As the state's 3rd largest airport, the governor called the expansion much needed.
A lot of good plans going forward, and I know we've had some money in the budget for some transition money that they can use for planning and also beginning the project.
Outagamie County approved $77 million for the multi-phased airport renovation. Construction is expected to start this fall and wrap up by 2025. Coming up, the Big Red Machine. The Cincinnati Reds are winning and having plenty of fun doing it. Our roundtable crew looks at the Brewers' final opponent before the All-Star break.
We have enjoyed a quiet and comfortable Thursday across the Badger State under a mostly sunny sky, keeping things mostly clear and turning cooler this evening. More details coming up. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us here on Spectrum News 1. I'm meteorologist Nikki Petrus with your Weather on the Ones forecast. What a difference a day can make in southeastern Wisconsin. Wednesday brought heat, humidity, showers, and thunderstorms. Following that passing cold front, a much different feel for us this Thursday. Temperatures below average, low dew points, quiet weather with some sunshine as the night moves on, staying quiet under a mostly clear sky and turning a bit chilly in some areas. We're in the upper 60s by 8 in Milwaukee, mid-60s as the night moves on, mostly sunny and staying mostly clear as the evening moves forward. A great night out at Summerfest, not hot or humid, and no rain to worry about. The same story all across southeastern Wisconsin, maybe a few lingering clouds until about midnight. After that, clearing out, remaining mostly clear as Friday starts off and turning a bit on the cooler side. Maybe open up the windows, turn off the AC before heading to bed later on this evening. We're talking morning lows inland in the low 50s, starting off Friday at 51 in West Bend and Beaver Dam, 52 in Watertown, 53 early Friday in Waukesha, slightly milder along the lakefront, mid to upper 50s and low 60s, a morning low of 60 in Milwaukee and Racine, 58 early Friday in Kenosha. Mostly clear to start Friday, more clouds back in the forecast, but still a quiet and pleasant day in store to end the work week. Mostly sunny early, upper 60s by mid-morning in Milwaukee, hanging mainly in the 70s throughout the daytime hours, partly cloudy by mid-afternoon, mostly cloudy into the evening. Temperatures still below average thanks to that cooler air following that passing front. Highs mainly in the 70s, getting up to 76 in Milwaukee, 75 in West Bend, upper 70s in Beaver Dam and Watertown, slightly warmer low 80s in Whitewater and in Walworth. Quiet for us on Friday. Mostly clear early. Here come those clouds by about the lunch hour in western Wisconsin, sliding further off to the east as the day goes on. Overall, though, a quiet picture in store as we head through the end of the work week into the coming weekend. Temperatures slowly climbing day by day as we get into Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll talk more about that coming up.
An important weekend for the Brewers at American Family Field. The division-leading Reds will be in town. Here's Spectrum News 1's Dennis Krause with the roundtable panel.
With Doug Russell from the game in Milwaukee and J.R. Ratcliffe from JS Online, this Brewers-Cubs series, Doug, what have we learned about the Brewers?
They're resilient. We've learned that this is a team that can come back. Now, they had a couple of hiccups in this, some base running hiccups, but they didn't just lay down and die. Now, you can talk about the ninth inning in Game 3 all you want. That, could be a little bit problematic. But this is a team that is showing that they can hit the baseball. They just have to do it more consistently.
So, JR, as we look at the National League Central, I know everyone's been tiptoeing around the Cardinals. I'm ready to pronounce them dead, okay? I think it's between the Brewers and the Reds.
I cannot physically do that. Physically say that the Cardinals are dead. I just have too much history to believe it, even though it's starting to feel that way. They have a really bad record in one-run games. Makes me feel like the Cardinals are still, they have a little bit of a pulse. But it's the Reds and the Brewers. I mean, that's pretty clear right now as we get into the All-Star break.
I'm sorry, my rundown says July 6th, not September 6th or September 17th.
You're saying what?
I'm not counting them out. They're not dead yet.
I am.
Okay.
Difference of opinion.
Difference of opinion. Embrace debate.
Doug, through Wednesday night's action, the Reds with a 2-game lead. The Reds are in town this weekend to play the Brewers 3 games at American Family Field. Knowing it is only July, how important is it?
Well, I think it's an important series. You always want to know where you are as a team. You always want to know how you stack up against, right now, the best team in the division and one of the hottest teams in all of baseball, the Reds, over the course of the last month. They were on June 6th kind of left for dead, and then they started playing really, really good baseball. They got Joey Votto back in the lineup. He's been producing. So, yeah, this is a really important series, I think, for the Brewers.
JR, the Reds have won 7 straight road series, only the 3rd time in franchise history they've done that, 1923, and the Big Red Machine in 1976, the others. How big is this series?
Yeah, it's good. And to go back kind of to something that was new as of last year, there's no Game 163. They need to win the head-to-head series against the Reds to have that tiebreaker advantage. It's a big deal. They got a 3-1 lead right now, but it's an exciting young team. Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz. It'll be fun to see those guys. It's a different brand of baseball from Cincinnati.
That's J.R. Ratcliffe, JS Online, Doug Russell, the game in Milwaukee. The Roundtable on Spectrum News 1.
Taking a look across Wisconsin now, the third and final stretch of Summerfest kicked off Thursday. There are some big acts set to close out the Big Gigs 55th Festival. A look at those headliners set to perform at the American Family Insurance Amphitheater. Thursday night, rapper Young Gravy returns to the stage. The University of Wisconsin grad replaces AJR and Jimmy Buffett. Both had to cancel. General admission tickets to Summerfest get you into the Young Gravy show. Seats are first come, first serve. The amphitheater will also host two sold-out shows this weekend. Rising country star Zach Bryan takes the stage Friday. Imagine Dragons on the stage Saturday for the final night at the amphitheater. Classic car lovers from across the nation are in north central Wisconsin. The Iola Car Show is underway and expected to bring in more than 120,000 people. It features 2,500 show cars. There's also a gigantic swap meet. Tickets are $20 for a single day admission. It's $30 for all 3 days. Admission is free for kids 12 and under. It's the 25th year for Life Fest in Oshkosh. There are performances from some of the biggest names in Christian music. That includes Toby Mac and Matthew West. That event also has sports games, seminars, and a 5K run. The festival goes through Sunday at the Sunnyview Expo Center. A campaign focused on improving street safety in Appleton. First up, the College Avenue Lane Reconfiguration Project. There will be 2 travel lanes, a center turn lane, and dedicated bike lanes. Supporters of Smart Streets Appleton said this project will create a safer and more welcoming downtown area. Construction starts Monday. Still ahead, smoke-free Wisconsin. This week marks 13 years since the state's law took effect. A look at the impact the legislation has had on workplaces and other indoor venues. And make this weekend count. You want to spend it outside. A big warm-up returns to the state next week. Our weather team is tracking all those changes. Your weather on the ones is ahead right here on Spectrum News 1.
This check of the Wisconsin lottery numbers is brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Thank you for staying with us on Spectrum News 1. Let's now talk your Thursday evening forecast across southeastern Wisconsin. Things stay quiet, cool, and comfortable as the night moves on. Mostly sunny, upper 60s by 8, mid 60s by midnight. A quiet and dry night in store out at Summerfest. Will be in the low 60s by early Friday morning. Mostly clear as the day starts off. There could maybe be a few lingering clouds in areas as we go to about 8, 9, 10 later on this Thursday evening. By midnight, clearing out and staying that way as Friday starts off. Under a clear sky and still seeing winds largely out of the northwest, that cooler air sticking in place. We're down in the low 50s further inland, starting off Friday at 52 in Waukesha, Watertown, and Beaver Dam, 55 in Whitewater and Walworth, 51 West Bend, 53 in Burlington, slightly milder along the lakefront, mid to upper 50s and low 60s. A morning low Friday of 60 in Milwaukee, 59 in Racine, 58 early Friday in Kenosha. Starting off mostly sunny and clear, we will see increasing clouds as the day moves on, turning partly cloudy by midday into the low 70s in Milwaukee. Still there by the early afternoon. The lake breeze does set up. We'll see temperatures mid to upper 70s in areas like Port Washington at 73, 76 in Milwaukee, 72 in Racine. But inland, same range of temperatures, mid to upper 70s, some low 80s. It's not the lake breeze keeping us cool, so that drier, cooler air following Wednesday's front to keep us below average, up to 81 in Whitewater, 80 in Walworth. But a great day to enjoy out and about because our dew points stay nice and low, down in the low 50s to even upper 40s. A comfortable way to end the work week with no active weather to talk about as we head into the coming weekend. Here come those clouds throughout the afternoon Friday. There could maybe be a sprinkle of rain try to work its way into the forecast late Friday into early Saturday. Saturday. After that, though, quieting down as the weekend moves on. Lingering clouds into early Saturday. A few scattered showers across parts of northern Wisconsin. We stay cooler and dry as the weekend moves forward. Temperatures do, though, return to more of a summer-like range by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Highs back in the mid-80s with rain Monday into Tuesday.
It's been 13 years since Wisconsin's smoke-free air law kicked in. It prohibits smoking in enclosed public spaces. Joining us now to talk about how that ban has impacted the state is Danielle McCarthy, Director of Research at the UW Center for Tobacco Research and Intervention. Danielle, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Happy to be here on this anniversary.
So there was some pushback when we were talking about this ban before it passed. For example, many restaurant and bar owners were afraid it could affect their business, but that never came to fruition.
No, indeed. A lot of people reported that they were as likely or even more likely to go to restaurants and bars after this passed. In fact, 9 out of 10 Wisconsin residents said that this would not in any way diminish their desire to go out and patronize these restaurants and bars.
And it sounds like now, I mean, you're 13 years out, there's a lot of support for this.
Absolutely. Almost 90% of Wisconsin voters who were asked about this said that they were supportive of this measure. And there have been very few compliance issues that the state has had to get involved in. That's been a success story as well.
So let's talk about smoking rates in Wisconsin since that ban passed. Have they improved?
They have. We have seen a decline in smoking prevalence. We're down from about 19% in 2010 to about 15% now. So that's about a 22% decline. And we are seeing that youth smoking rates have really fallen dramatically. That has been offset by increases in use of other forms of tobacco, smokeless tobacco, and electronic nicotine delivery systems, of course.
Well, it's good to see those kind of numbers. Secondhand smoke, we know that in an enclosed space, when people are repeatedly exposed, it can be bad for their health. And you were mentioning before the interview just about how that has impacted people who work in these environments.
Absolutely. That was one of the big rationales for imposing this kind of change, is that people who work in hospitality settings really faced very high levels of exposure to secondhand smoke that could greatly damage their health. And we know that when you enact a kind of indoor air law like this, that you see improvements in health pretty immediately. You see drops in emergency room visits for asthma exacerbations, for example. And we have seen here in Wisconsin that fewer people who work in bars in Wisconsin experience upper respiratory symptoms since the ban has gone into place. And it's really great to see that people who work in these industries are being protected in this way.
And then there are just all those people that feel it's a better environment, even if they're only there for a limited time. Danielle McCarthy with the UW Center for Tobacco Research and Intervention, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
If you smoke but are trying to quit, Wisconsin has free resources available. Call the Wisconsin Tobacco Quit line anytime. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW, or you can text READY to 34191. You can create a customized plan and get free coaching. Up next, combating violent crime. Milwaukee police revive an initiative to target certain neighborhoods. A closer look at Operation Summer Guardian 2.0. Wednesday's storms washed out the first concert on the square in Madison, but organizers took advantage of sunny skies to get ready for a Thursday night makeup performance. A first look also at the Friday forecast coming up next in your Weather on the Ones here on Spectrum News 1.
exercise, staying active. I am a huge proponent. I think that it's really important that you get out and you move, and whether that's walking your dog or going to a class at the gym. I like to teach a lot of classes at the gym. So I think that getting away from your desk and video games and all of those kinds of things that keep us really sturdy and stable is a good idea. I teach anything that's high impact, so that means body combat, body attack, core, spin, cycle, sprint. It's something about like the burn, the excitement. You're really pushing yourself. I'm all about, limits. You think you can only go this far, but you can always probably go a little bit farther. I just like that feeling of an hour of your day just totally dedicated to what you want to do.
Hello, Wisconsin. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. A slight uptick in the number of Americans who filed for unemployment benefits. The Labor Department's weekly report showed jobless claims were up 12,000 last week at 248,000. In Wisconsin, first-time claims dropped last week to 3,800, down from 4,300 2 weeks ago. Total unemployment claims statewide increased to almost 23,000. A shooting in Shorewood Thursday morning left one woman dead and another hurt. Police report the man believed to be a suspect in this case was found dead in a vehicle at another location from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. An investigation is underway. The Brewers are looking to get back on track Thursday afternoon after 2 straight losses to the Chicago Cubs. An eighth inning home run from Victor Caratini put the Crew in front for good. Brewers win 6-5.
This Thursday has been a cooler day across the Badger State. High temperatures below average and a few clouds at times. As the night moves on, clearing across the state, turning mostly clear into the early part of Friday morning. Not much when it comes to active weather. Starting off mostly clear and on the cooler side in areas north. Morning lows sitting in the 50s to even low 40s north and west. We'll see a cooler start to the day Friday. A few more clouds in the afternoon. Temperatures still below average and chance for a few showers in areas late. And that's your news and weather in 90.
Thanks for sticking with us here on Spectrum News 1. It has been a tough start to this month in Milwaukee. The city experienced an increased amount of shootings over the long holiday weekend. About 24 people were shot over the last 6 days. At least 6 people died. Spectrum News 1's Kelly Milan talked to one organization about its efforts to stop the violence.
Milwaukee is dealing with a troubling surge of violence on the streets, and one community organization is helping keep kids on a positive path away from violence. 43 years. That's how long Running Rebels youth organization has been active in the community. The work they do is consistent, and it is especially needed during the summer months when kids are not in school.
All people see on the news are the actors who are doing it, right? What they don't see is all the young people who aren't.
Like 15-year-old Jade Malone living in Milwaukee, who says Running Rebels gives her guidance and a needed support system.
It should never take this much violence and this many people getting killed when we're supposed to be having fun. Like, we're our youth, we're young. It really should never be this much violence.
In an effort to combat violence, the Milwaukee Police Department said they will cite parents and guardians if their child is found past curfew, a planned part of their second annual Operation Summer Guardian initiative, a targeted effort to stop gun violence across 27 neighborhoods in the city. For Burnett, it's a difficult conundrum.
That's tough. That's tough for me because I see parents who are straight up negligent, and I see parents who are trying their best to do what they can do. And how does the process differentiate between the two?
The one thing Burnett does know, it's not just her organization going to solve everything, it's everyone.
Because this is going to take all of us. not one church, not one community organization, all of us to be able to work together with the police, with the community stakeholders, really fighting together.
And something stakeholders across the city can all agree on. The city is worth fighting for, together. In Milwaukee, Kelly Milan, Spectrum News.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen touched down in China Thursday for talks with her Chinese counterparts. That as the Biden administration looks to thaw U.S.-China relations. Officials said the four-day trip is expected to be constructive and frank. Yellen will meet with senior Chinese officials and American firms. On the agenda, human rights abuses, climate change, and maintaining stable relations between the two countries. One of the biggest China hawks in Congress, Representative Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, weighs in on the sit-down. Spectrum News Washington reporter Torian Small has the latest.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's visit to Beijing comes as the Biden administration is trying to reduce tensions with China, which has the world's largest economy after the U.S. Last month, Yellen testified before the House Finance Committee that decoupling from China, in her words, would be a big mistake. After landing, Yellen put out a statement reiterating President Joe Biden's mission to improve communications between the two countries, writing in part, quote, "We seek a healthy economic competition that benefits American workers and firms, and to collaborate on global challenges. We will take action to protect our national security when needed, and this trip presents an opportunity to communicate and avoid miscommunication or misunderstanding." Her visit comes 2 weeks after Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing, a planned trip that had been pushed back following the takedown of a Chinese spy balloon that had traveled over the U.S. On Capitol Hill, Republicans, including House Select Committee on China Chairman Mike Gallagher, expressed skepticism of the administration's efforts to dial down tensions between the two superpowers. In a statement to Spectrum News, Gallagher wrote, quote, "After Secretary Blinken left Beijing with little to show for his trip, doubling down by sending additional cabinet-level officials like Secretary Yellen only perpetuates this vicious cycle. We self-censor while the CCP takes full advantage." Now, Secretary Yellen is set to meet with China's second highest-ranking official, that's Premier Li Qiang, this week. No word on if she'll meet with President Xi. In Washington, Torian Small, Spectrum News.
Coming up, a passport nightmare. The system now backed up even more with a busy summer travel season. How long you might have to wait to get a passport.
We have enjoyed a quiet and comfortable Thursday across the Badger State under a mostly sunny sky, keeping things mostly clear and turning cooler this evening. More details coming up. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us here on Spectrum News 1. I'm meteorologist Nikki Petras with your Weather on the Ones forecast. What a difference a day can make in southeastern Wisconsin. Wednesday brought heat, humidity, showers, and thunderstorms. Following that passing cold front, a much different feel for us this Thursday. Temperatures below average, low dew points, quiet weather with some sunshine as the night moves on, staying quiet under a mostly clear sky and turning a bit chilly in some areas. We're in the upper 60s by 8 in Milwaukee, mid 60s as the night moves on, mostly sunny and staying mostly clear as the evening moves forward. A great night out at Summerfest, not hot or humid, and no rain to worry about. The same story all across southeastern Wisconsin, maybe a few lingering clouds until about midnight. After that, clearing out, remaining mostly clear as Friday starts off and turning a bit on the cooler side. Maybe open up the windows, turn off the AC before heading to bed later on this evening. We're talking morning lows inland in the low 50s, starting off Friday at 51 in West Bend and Beaver Dam, 52 in Watertown, 53 early Friday in Waukesha, slightly milder along the lakefront, mid to upper 50s and low 60s, a morning low of 60 in Milwaukee and Racine, 58 early Friday in Kenosha. Mostly clear to start Friday, more clouds back in the forecast, but still a quiet and pleasant day in store to end the work week. Mostly sunny early, upper 60s by mid-morning in Milwaukee, hanging mainly in the 70s throughout the daytime hours, partly cloudy by mid-afternoon, mostly cloudy into the evening. Temperatures still below average thanks to that cooler air following that passing front. Highs mainly in the 70s, getting up to 76 in Milwaukee, 75 in West Bend, upper 70s in Beaver Dam and Watertown, slightly warmer low 80s in Whitewater and in Walworth. Quiet for us on Friday, mostly clear early. Here come those clouds by about the lunch hour in western Wisconsin, sliding further off to the east as the day goes on. Overall, though, a quiet picture in store as we head through the end of the work week into the coming weekend. Temperatures slowly climbing day by day as we get into Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll talk more about that coming up.
The aide charged, along with Donald Trump in the classified documents case, entered a plea of not guilty to all charges. While Nada was arraigned in a Florida court Thursday, he's accused of helping former President Trump hide classified documents from the federal government. Trump pleaded not guilty last month. According to court filings, Trump's trial is not expected to start before winter. Tensions are rising between the U.S. and Russia. Russian fighter jets intercepted 3 U.S. Air Force drones monitoring ISIS targets in northeastern Syria. Video released by U.S. Central Command shows those jets released parachute flares in front of the drones. 4 months ago, a Russian fighter forced a drone down over the Black Sea. The senior Air Force commander called the Russian action, quote, unsafe and unprofessional. A surge in the number of Americans heading overseas has led to a different kind of travel delay for passports. Applications by mail take months to process, and appointments at a special processing center to get an expedited passport are limited. Some members of Congress say it's a major source of complaints from constituents. Our Karina Capabianca reports from Washington.
Getting a new passport in time for international trips is costing many travelers nationwide time and money.
I'm on the way to Australia, and the delay really put me in a financial bind in a way, because I had to spend probably about $1,000 to fly up here yesterday. I spent about 12 hours en route. It looks like I'm going to be about midnight before I get home tonight.
Arkansas resident Teresa Harper had long planned a trip to Australia on Monday, but had lost her passport. She told us it took her 2 months to get an appointment to replace it. Nationwide, the State Department operates just over 24 passport agencies and centers for urgent travel services. Harper says she could not get an appointment at the one in Arkansas, so she had to travel to Washington.
It's in Hot Springs, which is about a 45-minute drive, but all of them are backed up. I checked from Nevada, Los Angeles, Chicago. I couldn't get an appointment. This was the closest that I could actually find an appointment. And so $900 later for a flight, I'm here.
And she's not the only one with passport woes. Taylor Springsteen from Virginia applied for his passport in March for a planned trip to Brazil Thursday.
Tried to walk in, and you can't get past security unless you have set up appointment with the confirmation code and all that. So couldn't even get in, and tried calling again, but couldn't even get someone to answer.
Senators Rick Scott and Marco Rubio of Florida joined with other Republicans in a letter to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken last month saying, quote, since January 2023, our offices have observed a massive increase in passport-related inquiries from our constituents. A State Department spokesperson said the department doesn't comment on such letters, but the department acknowledges it is seeing a record number of passport applications as more Americans travel internationally after many put off plans when the pandemic raged. Even though the current processing time for regular applications is 10 to 13 weeks, they say people should apply at least 6 months before taking an international trip. People who haven't gotten their passport within 14 days of their international trip are urged to call the National Passport Information Center at 1-877-487-2778 for an appointment, but availability isn't guaranteed.
We have called the passport agency for the last week and been on hold for hours upon hours, and we also have reached out to a congressman to reach out to the agency and try to get us a last-minute appointment, and nothing's been successful.
In Florida, there's only one passport agency. It's located in Miami. Democratic Congressman Maxwell Frost has been calling for the creation of a center in Orlando and to open the Miami office on weekends. At a town hall, he said that following his request, the Miami location will begin offering Saturday appointments once a month. In Washington, Karina Capabianca, Spectrum News.
Almost half the tap water in the U.S. is contaminated with forever chemicals. A new study by the U.S. Geological Survey found PFAS in 45% of the nation's drinking water. Those chemicals seep into the environment and can lead to adverse health outcomes. Scientists collected water samples from taps at more than 700 locations, which included private wells and public sources. Authors of the published study called it the most comprehensive to date. Still ahead, improving the defense. The Packers' production on the other side of the ball declined last season. How the team plans to turn that around in tonight's Packers Daily. And a quiet end to the work week. Will that carry over into the weekend? Your 7-day forecast is ahead in your Weather on the Ones here on Spectrum News 1.
Thank you for staying with us on Spectrum News 1. Let's now talk your Thursday evening forecast across southeastern Wisconsin. Things stay quiet, cool, and comfortable as the night moves on. Mostly sunny, upper 60s by 8, mid-60s by midnight. A quiet and dry night in store out at Summerfest. Will be in the low 60s by early Friday morning. Mostly clear as the day starts off. There could maybe be a few lingering clouds in areas as we go to about 8, 9, 10 later on this Thursday evening. By midnight, clearing out and staying that way as Friday starts off. Under a clear sky and still seeing winds largely out of the northwest, that cooler air sticking in place. We're down in the low 50s further inland, starting off Friday at 52 in Waukesha, Watertown, and Beaver Dam, 55 in Whitewater and Walworth, 51 West Bend, 53 in Burlington, slightly milder along the lakefront, mid to upper 50s and low 60s. A morning low Friday of 60 in Milwaukee, 59 in Racine, 58 early Friday in Kenosha. Starting off mostly sunny and clear, we will see increasing clouds as the day moves on, turning partly cloudy by midday into the low 70s in Milwaukee. Still there by the early afternoon. The lake breeze does set up. We'll see temperatures mid to upper 70s in areas like Port Washington at 73, 76 in Milwaukee, 72 in Racine. But inland, same range of temperatures, mid to upper 70s, some low 80s. It's not the lake breeze keeping us cool, so that drier, cooler air following Wednesday's front to keep us below average, up to 81 in Whitewater, 80 in Walworth. But a great day to enjoy out and about because our dew points stay nice and low, down in the low 50s to even upper 40s. A comfortable way to end the work week with no active weather to talk about as we head into the coming weekend. Here come those clouds throughout the afternoon Friday. There could maybe be a sprinkle of rain try to work its way into the forecast late Friday into early Saturday. After that, though, quieting down as the weekend moves on. Lingering clouds into early Saturday. A few scattered showers across parts of northern Wisconsin. We stay cooler and dry as the weekend moves forward. Temperatures do, though, return to more of a summer-like range by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Highs back in the mid-80s with rain Monday into Tuesday.
A revamped Packers defensive front line will be key to a green and gold return to the playoffs this season. Why opposing quarterbacks will likely fear Green Bay's group in this edition of Packers Daily.
The Packers defense came out of 2021 ranked 9th in total yards allowed and 11th in rushing yards allowed.
He's not going to get it. And a wave of Green Bay defenders were there to meet him.
After retaining the majority of the squad for 2022, Green Bay was hoping to continue that momentum. While the team was able to stay in playoff contention, there was a drop in the ability to get in the backfield. Impacting the quarterback is a proven way to tilt the field in your favor. Last year's pass rush saw lower production. Why? Opponents had more room to breathe without the game changer, Rashawn Gary.
Zappy hit, sack, down he goes. Rashawn Gary, the sack, the strip, and the recovery.
We all see the intensity at which he plays. He is a game wrecker, a guy that can significantly impact whether you're winning or losing. You know, just his ability to go out there and make plays.
A healthy number 52 provides the defense more flexibility in the trenches, but there's more to the way the team is approaching 2023. The outside linebacker and defensive line groups will be combining their strengths to bring the pressure.
Jerry Montgomery and I work very, very close together. You know, because at the end of the day, we're going to affect that quarterback somehow, some way. You know, the more and more we can work together as a group, the better and better I believe that we can become.
Add in first-round selection Lucas Van Ness, and this season's edition of the Green and Gold is primed to be on the attack.
We call him Hercules, so you know it's all in his name, man. He's get effort, very strong, and off rip, man, he's hungry for knowledge. And that's, you know, when you see a kid like that, you know, don't think they got it made. That's the type of kid we want, and that's the type of kids that we've been grabbing. And Lucas, he's gonna be one hell of a player for us.
A high school student from Kenosha received high praise for her work in the Big Apple. Harborside Academy's Carly McCullough was chosen as one of 8 semifinalists at the National High School Musical Theater Awards. At the ceremony in Manhattan, the teen represented the Overture Center's Jerry Awards program. Carly has also received Outstanding Lead Performance honors for her roles in the productions of Mean Girls and Chicago. From festivals to enjoying time on the water, there are plenty of ways to get outdoors this weekend. Will the weather cooperate for all those plans? The forecast is next in your updated Weather on the Ones. For now, here are some fun facts about Wisconsin.
Fun facts brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.